Welcome to Affirmation Conversations, where we delve into the depths of self discovery and compassion. I'm thrilled to kickstart today's episode, Embrace You, a journey to self discovery and compassion. During this discussion, we will navigate through insightful conversations, sharing wisdom, experience, and affirmations to inspire and empower you on your journey of self love and acceptance. Joining us today on Affirmation Conversations is Tasia Jackson. At 36, wow, I can't believe you're 36. I feel like I knew you at 16. Tasia is not only a devoted mother to two incredible boys, Isaiah, 18, and Makai, 14, but she's also a force to be reckoned with in her own right. With an impressive 17-year tenure in the Army under her belt, Tasia embodies strength, resilience, and unwavering dedication. But her journey doesn't stop there. Armed with not just one, but 4 degrees, Tasia is now setting her sights on a new horizon, the world of travel. Join us as we delve into her inspiring story of self-discovery, her pursuit of adventure, and her unwavering commitment to growth. Welcome, Tasia.
Thank you.
Also welcome Jessica Buck, the co-founder and owner, the founder, let me not minimize that, the founder and owner of TJR Investments, LLC, a real estate investing company. With a keen problem-solving mindset, Jessica has invested in single-family homes and multifamily properties, initially as a passive investor and now as a partner in a general partner team. Her commitment extends beyond profits. She ensures her investments enhances the lives of residents and communities. Jessica, alongside her partners, spearheads the Prince William County Cash Flow Breakfast Club, hosting monthly meetups to educate and network with fellow investors. With a senior legal administrator role in the United States Army, she leverages her financial management prowess and leadership skills to source and acquire multifamily investments, delivering strong returns for her investors. Based in Northern Virginia, Jessica is a devoted mother of 2 teenagers and finds solace in travel, family time, and exploring new dining experiences whenever she can. Welcome, Jessica.
Thank you.
Thank you for almost choking me up with all those long words.
Sorry.
Tanisha Cook. Tanisha brings a wealth of wisdom and insight to our discussion. With over 2 decades of invaluable experience within the United States Army JAG Corps, she currently serves as an independence manager for a global network specializing in assurance, tax, and consulting services for middle market leaders. Tanisha's expertise shines through in her multifaceted career. Beyond her professional endeavors, she embodies strength and resilience as a proudly single mother, balancing her commitments with grace and determination. I see you smiling there, Jessica and Tasia, and we'll get into that too.
Go single moms.
I know, right?
Moreover, Tanisha harbors a deep-seated passion for home design, a facet of her life she eagerly anticipates sharing with others in the future. Join us as we delve into her journey of self-discovery and compassion, gaining inspiration from her remarkable experiences. Welcome, Tanisha.
Hello.
So happy to have all 3 of you ladies. And yes, I will say that you 3 have a lot in common. You all have a background in the U.S. Army Judge Advocate General Corps. So if you're tuning in and have no idea what that means, that's the Army's legal enterprise. And currently, but not forever, you all are single mothers waiting for the right one to come swoop you up off your feet. Waiting for the right one is actually really good. It's really smart, actually, as we all know. So let's kickstart our discussion by exploring the journey towards self-compassion and overcoming self-criticism. Could each of you share a pivotal moment or experience that led you to realize the importance of cultivating self-compassion in your own lives? I'm going to start with you, Tanisha.
You're asking for a moment?
Yeah, just what occurred in your life that, or some experience or some moment that led you to realize how important having compassion for yourself is.
Oh gosh, I guess that's something that I deal with every day. Just trying to find some grace for myself. I'm especially hard on myself through each part of my day. Unfortunately, I'm a perfectionist, I guess. I get up, I go to work, and from the very start of my day all the way to the end, I am questioning, did I do that right? Are they happy with this? So it's for me, I have to tell myself just to relax a little bit. But I guess one of the biggest things that I have to give myself compassion on is being a mother. It's one of those things where I am constantly telling myself, okay, you got to get this right. You got to get this right. She's watching. You got to make sure that you are influencing her in the right way. And so I tear myself down a lot of times, and I know that you know I think about my own, childhood and the things that I've come away from and trying to, get over those things. And I often see myself, or I'm asking myself, is this something that my child is going to have to recover from when she when she becomes an adult? Is she
Mhm.
going to have to, get over some things that maybe I've said and didn't realize were, causing problems or something. So I'm very sensitive to that. But at the same time, I'm just trying to tell myself that you are doing a good job. You are meeting the marks in a lot of areas, and the things that you're worried about, she's probably not even thinking about at this moment.
Love that. Absolutely. We are our biggest critics, as they say. What would you say, Tasia?
Immediately I go to having Isaiah when I was 17. Definitely had to reel in the reality of the situation, that even though it wasn't ideal and I literally felt like all the odds were stacked against me, I had to give myself grace in that moment. I've given myself more grace in that moment for how I dealt with it when I didn't know what I was going to do. Just having what I would consider no options. I kind of talk to the boys now about never, or trying not to put yourself in a space where you don't have options and where you're stuck with only making one choice, and realizing that making sure that your decisions that you are making should allow you at least two options, but not only being able to have to deal with one. And so I've given myself a whole lot of grace in the sense of the way that I handled that situation with having him at 17. And even though, like I said, I didn't have any clue what I was doing, I now look back and say, even though you didn't think you know what you were doing, you did exactly what you needed to do in order to bring you to this place and space that you are right now.
Absolutely. I love that. That is super beautiful. Yep. You will there is no recipe, there's no rule book. You kind of just have to put one day, take one day at a time, put one foot in front of the other. And you clearly did that because your son is about to graduate high school and you have 4 degrees. In between having him at 17 and he's pretty much
Hmm.
like 17, 18. Well, he's
Right.
18 right now.
He's
I mean,
18.
you've had 4 degrees in between that. So,
Hmm.
you may not have think that you, like you said, knew what you were doing, but you did what you had to do and you clearly did an amazing job. So, Jessica?
I'll have to say probably basic training. Just because I was never someone that was like physically in great shape, or like mentally, like I never felt like I was like mentally very strong, and just like going through basic training. And I, joined the military kind of on a whim, sort of. It wasn't something I had planned. And so going to basic training and getting like, and just dealing with some of the things there, like just waking up every day. I mean, it was difficult for me mentally, physically, and I think giving myself some grace during that. I don't know if I necessarily did that, but like at the time,
Mm-hmm.
but just getting through every single day there was just like it was an accomplishment in itself, I believe, because like I said, I never really I kind of amazed myself at the time because I never really like thought that I could do something like that. And so getting up every day and just doing everything. And I joined at 23, so I wasn't like 17 or 18. I
Wow.
joined a little bit later. I had already went to college a couple years and had worked like a couple jobs before I joined. And so just doing that and being at that time one of the older in basic training at the time, it was definitely a challenge for me. And I think that was when I kind of learned to give myself a little grace and just, like Tasia said, just kind of put one step in front of the other and get it done every day. And I did that. So
Oh, that's amazing. And look at you now. You're on the cusp
Yeah,
of
20
retirement.
years
So
later. I know. 21 years later. I never thought, I was
yes,
like, I'm gonna do this for 4 years. I think we all said that at
same.
one point,
We all
right?
did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep, yep,
exactly.
yep. Well, so you all have led me into my next question, and that is basically how significant do you believe that positive self talk is in fostering that self discovery and compassion? And I can only imagine, Jessica, so I'll start with you, that during, basic training, especially going on a whim and feeling like you weren't physically or mentally really prepared or, strong enough for that. Um, did you use positive self talk to kind of get you through it?
Honestly, I don't remember too much about it, but I just think that like I've learned throughout the years that just like our brains are wired to believe like what we think and what we say to ourselves. And so
Mm-hmm.
and this took me years to realize this is probably not something I knew in basic training. Like I was not, I kind of just woke up every day and just got try to get through the day. And I think I've done that probably for the first 10 or 12 years that I was in the military. I recently just like started, after I was reading some like self-motivation books and things like that, just to like, because I was having difficulty doing that myself, is having some passion. I was like Tanisha, very hard on myself, and I still am, but I think that as I get older, I definitely do give myself a little more compassion now. And I do, but naturally our brains are just wired to believe what we say and what we think. And so manifesting like what you want and what you believe is something that I truly believe in. And so speaking it into existence, it really does work. And so I've over the last 3 or 4 years started to really do that to myself. And then that's where I believe that has improved like my self-compassion and my like self-image and self-esteem just in the last few years, because I've really struggled with that over the years. And I believe that I've gotten better over it, but it's just been in the last like 3 or 4 years, because I have really struggled with that, like for the majority of my life.
Yeah, and you have, and I've told you this before, and I think I
Yeah.
told you this on the last affirmation conversation, because when I
Yes.
when I met you, I could tell that um, that you had some work to do there, just put it that way.
Yeah,
And I
absolutely.
could see that you have grown so much and you have grown so strong, and you advocate for yourself, you stick up for yourself, you set boundaries. And it's very admirable, because it's very hard, especially when you've gone 30-ish years of your life kind of just being one way. I mean, it takes time to become a more assertive person, and you have done it, so you should absolutely be proud of yourself and don't question whether or not you think you have. I'm telling you that you have actually become that person that you're speaking of. So
Yeah, thank you. I believe, yeah.
you're welcome. Tanisha, what would you say?
Um, Yeah, definitely have to give yourself those positive feedbacks, moments. One of the things that I tell myself constantly is that I can do hard things. Because a lot of times I will look at something, and no matter how small it is, I'm literally picking it apart and telling myself, okay, well, this is the obstacle. These are the things that's wrong. This is why you're not going to, get to the other side of this. And so I have to sit down with myself. And, if it takes, me standing in the mirror, if it takes me doing a little bit of journaling, if it takes me calling you up, just saying, or anybody for that matter, just telling myself, you can do these things. You're going to get to it on the other side. It may seem hard, but you're just at that first step. Get through that first one and go on to the next one. But yeah, constantly needing to feed myself positive affirmations each day. It's not easy doing it by yourself, but when you find that you have done that on a consistent basis, and you've accomplished the thing that you wanted to accomplish, it that becomes another affirmation for yourself. Just saying, I did that. I did that when I didn't believe in myself. And then maybe other people didn't exactly believe in me, but I did it. And it becomes something that you have to remind yourself of every time you face a new challenge.
Exactly. I love it. How about you, Tasha? How do you practice positive self talk?
I am a born catastrophizer. So I remember the first time going through MRT and I was like, oh, that's me. I'm definitely a spiral and I'm going to spiral and I'm always going to think of the worst that is completely impossible of happening.
Yes.
Um, and I've continuously been that way. But what I've done is I don't like to not necessarily think of the worst because I don't want to not be prepared for it. But I feel myself speaking MRT. I put it more into perspective. Like, what is the actual worst case scenario? What is actually the best case scenario? And I tend to talk myself into more positivity because just like Jessica said, whatever you think, it's what naturally is kind of what you manifest if you're going to continue to think that way, right? And so again, just like Jessica said, like it's just been current. It's been more recently that I've been able to not necessarily control my thoughts, let myself have them, but then processing it and letting it become the reality of what's actually going to happen. I just learned that I don't necessarily need to be in control of it. I want my mind to think the way that it's going to, but then I want to also tell myself that, hey, there's positive things that can happen. And those things naturally sometimes do happen. And there are sometimes where they just don't, but that doesn't make it, not necessarily my fault or anything that I did wrong, but it's just life itself and being more positive. And what I've noticed though is in thinking more positively, it's less stress. It's
Yes.
less it's less worrying. It's just more refreshing to be positive. I don't have to necessarily when I'm worrying, I'm trying to fix something that's not even there. Like how are you trying to fix a problem if it's not even there,
Doesn't
right?
exist.
And
Exactly.
so definitely taking the time to be more positive, be positive on purpose than just catastrophizing has been very rewarding as of lately.
I love that. So that kind of leads me into my next question because it sounds like you have set some boundaries within yourself, right? You are telling yourself that you kind of refuse to operate in a negative space and instead, more manifesting more positivity. So let's talk about setting boundaries because that takes a lot of self discovery. And I think that we all have probably been in some type of situation, whether it's a friendship, a relationship, some type of relationship with a family member, or maybe even a job, where we may not have set clear boundaries and thus issues have ensued. So, Tanisha, I'll start with you. Why do you think it is essential to set boundaries and learn to say no? And what have you learned from doing so, if you have? And same for you, ladies, if you have not done so, what is it that you need to be able to do that?
I think it's important to set these boundaries because it comes down to, your own mental health. You have to look out for yourself. You have to protect yourself. You have to, make sure that you are not being, manipulated or, just abused in any type of way when it comes to certain situations in your life. And that can be in, like you said, work. It can be with your family. It can be with friends. It can be in a relationship. It is something that needs to happen. I've struggled with it my entire life. Growing up, saying no was not something that was allowed. You just had to do exactly as you were told. And that was not just at home, that was at school. And so, of course, being a woman, you're told that you have to be nice and pleasant at all times. So you have to, learn how to politely say no and consider everyone
Hmm.
else's feelings. But growing up, living that way, it didn't get me anywhere. It left me feeling, just stressed out. It left me feeling, like my feelings didn't matter. I felt isolated a lot of the times. And then, now that I've gotten to that point where I understand that setting boundaries doesn't mean that I'm a bad person. Setting boundaries doesn't mean that, the other person, their feelings are going to get hurt. Sometimes they might, but that's that's, something that I feel like they all have to work out on their own, because there's nothing wrong with me or anyone setting their own personal boundaries. I've had to do that with my family. Jessica, you know all too well
Mm-hmm.
how things can be in that matter. You have to, let them know that I love you. I love you with all my heart. But, I'm in a place where I'm drowning in this moment. I need a break from whatever it is that your problems are, adding up over here, and it's you're tossing them off on me. So I need to, be able to stand over here in the distance from you just for some time, for me to get myself together, for me to, mentally recover from the stress that I'm under, because there are, so many things that I'm going through on my own. I can't bear the burden of,
Mm-hmm.
what you have going on for you. So those are things that, I have dealt with. But saying no is something that I still struggle with a lot of times. So I'm still working on it a lot.
What would you say, Jessica?
I think so. I've also struggled with this because I'm naturally a giver and I want to always do things for other people. I think professionally as a legal administrator, Jessica and Tasia can understand we, have to do everything, right? And so professionally it had been very difficult for me to be like, hey, I only can work until a certain amount of time. And when I was married, that was, it was I was more able to do that. And I was staying at work until, 1900, 7 or 8 o'clock at night, especially when I was in Korea and my family was not there with me. And so sometimes I was at work. So I just think I have struggled with this both professionally and personally, because I've always just wanted to help other people, but it has definitely come at a detriment to myself. And I think once I became a single parent, I really had to learn how to say no to people, and that was a pivotal moment in my life, is because I didn't have somebody else to help out with some of those things, and I didn't have someone at home to take care of my kids when I was working later. I didn't have somebody else to be there to pick up my kids when I needed to, so I had to set those boundaries, and I had to. And I think it comes like for respect for myself and for the relationship as well. It's about respect, because I think people, whether it be personal or professional, they will do what you allow them to do. So if you're going to stay at work until 8 or 9 o'clock at night, they're going to give you stuff to do. If you're going to say yes all the time, they're always going to ask. And so once once you start saying no, then, I think you also have to understand what you can take on as well, right? If you, what are your limits as far as taking on so much, right? And I never had limits for myself. I always just kind of went and went and went and went until I I don't know, burnt out, right? I was just exhausted. And so that has been very difficult for me. But like I said, back in 2020, when I became a single parent, I had to set those boundaries. And I think that I've done a decent job of it. But also, coming into retirement and things like that, it's a little bit easier for me to start saying no at work and things like that. I don't
Yeah, I
know
know.
if
You're
that's,
like, screw that next promotion.
yeah,
I don't need it anyways. Yeah,
yeah.
it is a
So
little
I think my
easier.
circumstances has also helped me a little bit, but and probably COVID, because we had a lot of flexibility and things like that. So I don't know if but I think overall I have done a better job in the last probably 4 years or so by setting boundaries and telling people no, and just saying hey, I can, work until this date, or I can do, I can work until this time and then I'll get it done tomorrow. Or what are your priorities and what do I need to do today? And then what can I finish tomorrow when I get in, or something like that. Um, and then personal relationships, I just think that it's kind of understanding the relationship, and then just, setting those boundaries with people, and just saying sometimes you have to just say no. Like Tanisha said, it's not, I understand you're going through things, but so am I, and I only can take on so much. And so it's you just kind of have to set those boundaries and say no. But that's been definitely something that's been hard for me as well, because I'm a giver and I always want to help people. But I think I have to, I've learned that I can't give from nothing. get also. And so
Yes,
that I have to, I have to take that time for myself to like rest and recharge and things like that so that I can continue to give, and be there
exactly.
for other people.
I was just about to tell you that, and then you said it. Like, how can you give from a well that's run dry? Like, you just
Exactly.
can't. So you have to continue to, replenish it.
Yeah.
Tasia?
Um, I don't want to say that I haven't struggled with it, but I am definitely a boundary. I don't have time. I don't have
Mhm.
time to not have boundaries. And so being a single mother from the jump, like Isaiah and I's dad were not together when he was born. So
Mhm.
from the jump, my mom moved to England, and it was just, as I was like, you didn't even move across, the street or something. She went to a completely different country, and I had just had this baby, and I was like, what am I going to do? And
Mhm.
so that placing those boundaries happened from the very, very beginning, because I say that, but like another thing was, I was just talking about this. I had Isaiah on a Wednesday. I had to go to school Monday.
Wow, that's
I would
insane.
like I had no choice because I was a senior in high school. And so I'm like 17 years old. I'm like, either you gonna go to sleep or I'm gonna go to sleep because I want to go to school. Like we gotta figure. And so I say that to say, like, I felt like at that time when I look back of it, I was in a survival mode. And so
Yeah.
all I could do was place up boundaries. I didn't have time or space to take on anything else that anybody else had. And from that moment, it's always kind of been that way. And so like my family, like my sister knows I'm not about to call Tasia with this because it's not going to go well. Or if I include her in this, I'm 9 times out of 10 not going to like her answer anyway. So they often don't even go there. They don't even try.
Wow. Wow.
And so it's been like, I've also just relied heavily on myself. The few times where I've decided that I was going to ask for help, not saying that I don't ask for help, it's always kind of, never worked itself out. Perfect example was when I became a drill sergeant, and I knew I was going to have long hours, and I had these boys, and I asked both their dads, I'm like, hey, I think it's time for you to have your kid. I think that you should take these 3 years of me being on a trail to bond with them, develop a relationship. And everybody's like, yes, this is great. This is great. I set everything up, and both fell through at the last minute. And so again, not necessarily jumping through hoops, but I'm like, okay, we have to make this work. And I don't have time for anything else. So this is how this is going to work for me. And so trying to rely on others and stuff like that, or being able to carry the weight of someone else, I just decided to internalize and do what I could on my own and make the best of the situation that I possibly could. A space that I do think that I've had an issue with placing boundaries in, Isaiah is going through this now. I put him in therapy because he's having issues with his dad. And when you have an inconsistent parent, and it's like, where do I draw the line? And
Yeah.
how can I draw that line for
For
him?
him. Yeah.
For him. Because what's often portrayed is, she won't let me see my kid. She won't let me talk to him. She won't let me do this or something of that nature. But it's more of, I don't want him, just like Tanisha said, is he going to have to unpack this later? You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like, where do I draw the boundary line for him? Because me, as the 18-year-old girl whose dad wasn't always there, I was cool. I was like, I don't need that relationship. Isaiah is the exact opposite of me. His dad will call in January and he'll be excited, and he'll call in June and he'll still be excited. He doesn't care about the in between. But I know that it's hurtful. And I know
Yeah.
that he knows that he's got other kids and he's doing these things with these other kids. So where do I draw the line for him? And that's where I've struggled the most as of late, because it's just like, he doesn't deserve that. He doesn't deserve inconsistency. But if I stop it, then I'm the bad person. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's kind of like, damned if you do, damned if you don't. Sorry for that. But like, I just don't, that line,
We
that
curse.
boundary
We curse
line.
on here sometime. It's
Okay.
okay.
For me, that's where I've struggled the most in trying to draw the boundaries between the boys and their dads, because while it's a different instant on Makai's side, there's still boundaries. There's still lines where I'm just like, where is enough that I say that I want to protect them from continuous heartache from her, but you just don't really know.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely true. And I unfortunately don't have the answer. And I think that it's awful that you have to go through that as a mother because you see your children going through that, you know what I mean? And it's like there's always going to be a longing, and you don't want to stop them from getting, even if it's only once every 6 months, because once
Yep.
every 6 months may be better than not at all, you know. And it's very sad. And I'm glad that Isaiah now is 18 and he can kind of now take over and
Mm-hmm.
figure that out for himself. But what I will tell you that both of the boys will know for sure is that they have an amazing mother who loves them, who puts them first, and who always protected them. And so at least you can be happy in knowing that on your end, you really did an amazing job
Thank
with
you.
them, because it's not just providing housing, it's not just paying child support, it is that emotional and mental support, because these kids will have it all these days, it
Mm-hmm.
all. And if we ain't taking care of them emotionally and mentally, we see what these kids are out here doing. I mean, we got to start there. And so be proud of the strides that you have made with your sons as a mother,
Absolutely.
because that's
Yeah.
hard. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
You're
And
not
I would,
alone, Tasia, either. I completely understand and I have to deal with it too. But again, like, with the boys, with Tyus and Isaiah, I mean, they're almost adult. I mean, Isaiah is, and Tyus will be 18 in like 3 weeks. And so it's hard for me as well because it's like, also like they're about to be adults, so like when do you let them kind of deal with that, them, like they can
Mm-hmm.
always come to you, of course, to talk to you, but they have to kind of deal with those emotions and those feelings, not on their own, but like process them on their own, you know what I mean? They can
Absolutely.
always talk to you, they can always come to you, but I mean processing them on your own, and like I learned later, in life, to stick up for themselves. If they feel a certain way, they need to be the ones that are telling them, that person, that they need to be the ones that are, advocating for themselves. And that's
Absolutely. Absolutely.
difficult as well. And so that's something I struggle with as well. It's like, you need to, if this is how you feel, you need to express that.
Absolutely. I've had that same exact conversation with Isaiah. Like, it's okay for you to feel that way, but I need you to stand on business
exactly
and
when it's
Yeah.
time.
and express that to him. Express that to whoever it is. It's okay
Hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
your feelings are legitimate and you're allowed to feel that way and you're allowed to express that to whoever it is. So
Yeah,
absolutely.
Exactly. And
absolutely.
no, it is very important to set boundaries with everyone. And we all typically have a hard time with it in some fashion. And Tasha, I wish I was as good at doing so as you are. I know you said, you just shared the struggle that you have in one instance, but otherwise, you're doing okay. And that's not always the case for me. I mean, I feel I have more boundaries at work. I feel I set very clear boundaries with work, especially now that I'm retired. I'm like, nope. With the military, you give, you're expected to give 24/7, 24 hours a day outside of your typical roles and responsibilities. I ain't doing that. Not on this side. No, like there's a dollar sign attached to everything. Now, I'm going to give my all between, my 40 hours a week. I'm going to give my all. I'm going to try to exceed whatever the standard is that you set, but I'm not going to like allow people inside of those to step across those boundaries.
Yeah.
But when it does come to, certain relationships that I have, it has been a struggle for me. And you all are right. When you don't set boundaries with people, it's like trying to really suck water from a cactus. It's hard. Like you just can't give. You want to, your heart is in the right place, but you really just cannot give anymore. And what happens? You end up on the couch in somebody's
Mhm.
office talking about your problems when the people who you're talking about are going about their business, because guess what? Their problems aren't their problems anymore. Their problems have become your problems,
Mhm.
and you've been solving them, and things
Mhm.
are easier. And so I'm trying to be better at remembering that I don't own other people's problems, but it's a journey that I'm on, and it is taking time. And like Tanisha said, and there's been times where I'm like, hey, I just had to be straight up with them. And then they realize that, no, like, you're absolutely right. I didn't even realize I was doing that to you. And I'm like, oh, well, I probably could have said this 6 years ago and saved myself, a whole lot of stress. But sometimes people don't know because they just know, like Jessica said, you're just going to always say yes. And they don't know that yes is really causing you stress. It's really costing you a lot of money or time because you ain't really spoke up on it. You know what I mean? And so that's
I
another
think
thing with setting boundaries. They have to be clear, and you have to explain what it is and why it is.
what I was doing was like putting my problems and my things aside to help other people. And so obviously, and then those things were piling up, and I wasn't dealing with my own issues because I was too occupied and too invested in helping other people. And I was like,
absolutely,
I wasn't able to, because by the time I got to my problems, I was exhausted.
Right.
I was like, I didn't have enough left in me to deal with my problems. And maybe that, honestly, I think a lot of that led to like the, failure of my marriage and things like that, because that I wasn't saying no. It was to family and, friends and professional relationships and things like that. I just wasn't saying no, and I wasn't dealing with my own issues.
I tell people, and I'll tell this to you all too, especially being, single moms and probably having like a guilt sometimes when you feel like you want to put yourself first, because mothers do. Like, as a mother, it is not ingrained in us to put ourselves first. As a woman, it's not ingrained in us to put ourselves first. We're nurturers, we're givers, we are people pleasers naturally. We've been taught that since little girls. But I will say I am learning over time recently in my life that I have to put myself first. And not to be selfish, but I feel like if I put myself first, then I'm going to be a more healthy, holistic person for those other
That need
people who
me.
I love and who need me in my life. Because,
Absolutely.
like Jessica said, I have my own problems and things that I'm dealing with. And if I don't put those first, but I put you first, well, I'm struggling. I'm burned
Right.
out. I can't really be there for you like you need me to be and when you need me to be, because I'm about on the verge of a nervous breakdown. But if I
Yeah.
put me first and I take care of those things, and then if I set boundaries and you understand them, because I'm going to be transparent with you. And if you are any type of person who really wants to be in my life anyways, then you would understand, right? And you would have compassion, and we can work on this together. And so I will definitely say, especially to mothers, right? Like, put yourself first. It's okay. It's not selfish to do so, because putting yourself first does not mean you're putting your kids last.
Absolutely. They feed
It
off your energy.
They do, and they know it.
And
A
they know
kid
it.
knows when mom is sad.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to say nothing. They'll be like, "Mommy, what's wrong?"
Yep.
They know. And
Mm-hmm.
then when you're sad, I'm telling you, I've seen kids, mom don't say nothing, she's just sad. And the kid, little infant, toddler type kids would just bust out crying. And then the mom would be like, "What's wrong with you?" It's like, "Mommy, you're sad." Like, mommy ain't said nothing. Kids
Mm-hmm.
know. They
Yep.
know when you're sad. They know when you're upset. They know when you're tired. They, like you said, Tasia, they feed off you. So it's great that you take care of yourself, practice that self-care, practice that positive self-talk, put yourself first, have some compassion for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
discover who you are and learn that, because you really can't be for people if you have not learned to be for yourself. And that's just the
Absolutely.
truth. And we
Mm-hmm.
all struggle with it. A parent wants to be they think being a parent is the most important thing in their life. And it's absolutely not. It's not. You're not living to be a parent. Not
Yes,
solely.
you have your own
Not
identity.
solely. You have your own
Absolutely.
identity. Because trust me, when you're done at 18 and them kids go out,
Listen.
everything that you done taught them, they're going to go and do their own thing. They're going to go
Absolutely.
their own way. They have free will. Let's just hope that we taught them a conscience,
Right.
right? And when they out there turning up and about to get behind the wheel, they
Right.
know
They be like,
better.
my mama. I hear my
Right.
mama's voice.
Right. Exactly. When they're out there, on a business trip, and they know they got a wife and kids at home, and some little thing come up to the bar asking, what you drinking. That conscience tell them nothing. I'm about to go. And they run. They just leave $100 bill on the table for a $4 tip because they want to get the hell away from harlot. Okay. They know
Not
better.
harlot.
Like they just go. Like it's all about the conscience. It's like yes, you're right. They have free will. They're gonna be who they gonna be, honey. You just have to pray for real.
Yeah.
So let's talk about taking a chance on yourself, because I can definitely say from knowing the three of you and from hearing just what you all talked about so far that you definitely took a chance. Tasia, you took a chance at 17 years old and chose to have your child. We all know the alternative. You took a chance on yourself and you are 17 plus years into an Army career. So what that means, y'all, is that in 3 years, she's going to get 50% of her pension every single month for the rest of her life. Period.
Absolutely.
You know, you took a chance. Jessica, you took a chance at 23 going to basic training, knowing dang on well, in your head at least, that you just really mentally weren't strong enough for it. You really weren't like athletic. You couldn't do it. I wasn't athletic either. I was bony as heck, but I wasn't athletic, girl. So trust me, it took me a minute to learn how to run and do sit-ups. And my arms were so bony, I couldn't even lift my 118 pounds. Now they all big, and I can't lift these pounds. I ain't gonna tell you what they are. But
I fell out on every run.
I got better.
Thankfully, Tasia wasn't my drill sergeant. She was like,
I
she was
can't
like
even imagine.
Still in middle school, probably.
Right, exactly.
Training, but
I can only imagine her.
Because I fell out of every run.
Whew.
Yeah.
Child. And Tanisha, you also took a chance. You know, you took a chance on yourself. You took a chance by setting boundaries. I know of those boundaries. And you had to set boundaries with people that it was probably very hard for you to set boundaries for.
Absolutely.
And so you all did. You took a chance by going from a 20-year career in the Army JAG Corps, what you knew your whole life, and now you're doing something completely different. So what does that mean to you all? Jessica?
I just think you have to believe in yourself. I mean, no matter how hard it is, you just got to believe in yourself. And that comes along with the positive self-talk and the manifesting, that you can do it. And then being okay with not being able to see the end result, but still doing it anyways, taking that first step, but not knowing how it's going to be. I mean, I'm struggling with that right now, applying, and Jessica, you can tell, applying for jobs and, for retirement and stuff. I just submitted my retirement. I was like, I'm done with this, but I don't know what's next. Right. And so taking that, eventually I had to retire. So I knew that. And I was ready, and I still ready, but I have no idea what's next for me. And so just taking that first step, not knowing what's next, but you got to just believe in yourself, know that you can do it, know that know your value, and just express that in things, and believe it yourself. And then it comes along with still having, that compassion for yourself, knowing that, you're not going to be, perfect at everything, but you're just going to keep on going and not give up, and just take that first step. I think I'm struggling with that right now, but I'm not giving up. So
well, I'll definitely tell you, Jessica, and it's the God's honest truth, girl. When you retire, and Tasia, you got 3 years, but you close, because you only got a year till you can submit. Child, you're gonna be like, where has retirement been all my life? Tanisha knows, she was in the Army too. It is amazing. It's awesome. It's girl.
I'm excited, but I'm a worrier and a planner, and so I'm stressing right now, but
you'll definitely get a job.
Yeah.
You'll get a job just with the legal administrator credentials alone. You will get a job, and when you get on this side and you do get your job, and so you can be at peace a little bit more, you're gonna be like, child, Army who? I'm telling you.
Yeah, I'm for sure. I'm ready, and I'm doing it. But 50 applications in and getting referred to 3, I'm gonna start looking on that out of the
see. That's why you nervous, is because you ain't realized yet it take 8 to 12, 13, 15 months for them people to call you back in U.S. staffing. you just need to at least ease your pain and you're worried about applying for civilian jobs because they'll call you back in 2 days and you'll be hired in a week with an offer. And then once you have that job, then you just do the USA stuff. And then once they offer your job in 8 months, then you just quit the other one. Well, you resign. You resign.
Yeah.
Seriously, because it's going to take forever.
Well, I'm gonna call you soon for this.
Yeah.
But I just think, I mean, just believe in yourself, know that you can do it, stay consistent, stay positive, and just go and take that step. Because I mean, if you don't do it, what's the alternative, right? You're gonna be in the same place you were, and you
can't fail at anything that you never tried.
Exactly.
Exactly. How about you, Tanisha?
Oh my gosh. I just, yeah, I'm a naturally nervous person about most things in life. I constantly find myself, like I said, looking for all the things that could go wrong. But when
Hey, Tasia, senior.
yes, everything, like it's every single possibility. Okay, what's going to happen over there? What about this? You're just looking at all avenues of things that could go wrong. You feel like Doctor Strange some days. You're just looking into the future, just seeing every path. Yeah. But for me, the risk, taking that big risk, leaving my military job, and like I said, finding out, this being in the legal field is not something that I wanted to do. It's not something that makes me happy. I stuck with that job for so long because I was a single mom. I was taking care of family members, adult family members, for so long. And, being a single mother, the job offered me, security, and I wasn't happy. I got to a point where I was just burned out every single day. I was sitting in my car crying, not wanting to go into the office, and it just got to a point where they were asking too much and not wanting to give anything in return. So I just had to let it go. And it was scary at first. And Jessica, I'm talking to you because I know you're sitting here saying that, you're scared. It's gonna happen. I promise you. For me, it was 6 months. I quit the job, didn't have anything lined up. It was 6 months before I actually found something to do. And it was well worth the wait. I will say that. The job that I have now, I love the team that I work with. I love, the day-to-day stuff that I do. Of course, it's stressful. It's a job, but it's not stressful in a way where I just feel overwhelmed. I feel underappreciated. I feel like I'm supported each day. The stuff that I'm doing, like I said, I actually enjoy it. It feels like something that I want to do when I wake up. It's not something that I am dreading, like, oh my gosh, this is something that I got to get through. No, I don't feel that way at all. The pay is much better. You just feel
consultant pay is nice, Chad.
Exactly. The pay is much better. The benefits are better, and you just have this bubble of people, just making sure each day that they are checking on you, and I said bubble, I meant circle. You have the circle of people that are just checking on you.
A bubble is kind of circular, at least. It's a circle. I think you just had an extra layer of protection.
Yeah, I know, right?
Cushioning, that's what it is. But no, you have.
Well, I'm definitely gonna circle back to you and Tasia after I let Tasia answer that, and because I know the two of you have basically talked about how you like to catastrophize and come up with worst case scenario, and I want to dig a little bit deeper into that because I will say I'm actually the opposite. So I want to know more about that, and if Jessica is that type of person too, I need to come back to that. Go ahead, Tasia.
So as far as taking risk, I feel like joining the military was one of the things that was a risk for me, but I did it because, again, like I said, my back was against the wall and I kind of didn't really know what I was going to do, and taking a chance on myself because I wanted to give Isaiah the best that I could give him at that time, because I couldn't go to college. Even though I had a full ride scholarship to University of Florida, I didn't have anybody to keep Isaiah. And so it was like, what do I do? So I went that way with the intent, I'm gonna do this for 4 years and we're gonna call it a day, get my education, keep it moving. 3 years into that, I have Makai, who has sickle cell anemia. He was diagnosed at birth. And so from that moment, and his dad had already gotten out the military, from that moment, it was like my purpose had shifted. And so we kind of talked about our identity, and where do we see ourselves? Like, you have your own identity, and that's kind of like, I feel like I'm about to take the first chance on myself, because everything that I've done has kind of been for the kids, but now I'm doing it for me, and I'm taking a chance on myself to do what I love to do. What kind of, to caveat off what Tanisha was saying, how she's like, I'm in my car and I'm crying and I don't like what I do. I can't say that I don't like what I do, but what I can say is it supports the family, and it gets done what I need it to get done. And so using that as my foundation, using my kids as my foundation, it makes it much easier for me to do. But what does that look like when Makai is 18 and I can no longer carry him on my insurance? And what is going to be in place for him if he has to go to the hospital or something like that? So this is the time where I feel like I am finally taking a chance on myself to do what Tasia wants to do and what I would love to do. I just don't know what that is yet, because like you said, I'm 3 years away from retirement, but I also recognize that in 3 years from retirement, I also am going to get promoted again. So I am in a very unique situation when it does come to my career, that I would get promoted one more time. And there's, the service obligation that comes with that. And then by the time you do the service obligation, there's another promotion, and it's like, okay, where's the cut point to now I'm doing
Don't
what
do
I
it,
want to do.
Tasia. Don't do it.
I
I
know.
know,
Don't
right?
do it.
I definitely say, and I say this on a lot of affirmation conversations where it's purpose. I have 3 reasons for doing stuff. It's purpose, passion, and pension. And, those things change at different parts in your life,
Absolutely.
and I would say I want to do things more so because it's a purpose, right? And the purpose is usually going to be something that's higher than myself, right? It's going to be for service, giving back to the community because, maybe God wants me to do it. And so I know that my blessings are going to come back twofold. That's usually number one for me. But sometimes that doesn't apply. And it's more, I'm doing something because I have a passion for it,
Mm-hmm.
which is really kind of like Seth's Kitchen. Like, me catering is a passion. Guy ain't tell me to go out there and cook for people. Not they have to pay. You know what I mean? Like, maybe for free. but pension, that's usually like, I hope what I'm doing has a good purpose, and I hope that I have a passion in doing it, and I hope that the pension is good.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say for you, if you don't have a passion for military service beyond 20 years, just don't do it. If you have a purpose, right? If you have to do it, to keep, just a medical care for Makai, excuse me, because if he is a college student, he would still be covered. If you have to do it, then that purpose would surpass that passion. You know what I mean? And the pension really ain't that bad either. Like, let's just be serious. It ain't the best, but I will say, if those things don't apply, child, run, Forrest, run. 'Cause
I like that, Jessica. I've
I
never
do
heard
too.
that.
Me either.
Yeah, but I will say Tasia's been talking about being like an instructor or something like that since she was a W-1. So she's doing what she wants to do now. But what's after this position,
That's
right?
right.
You going to Fort Gordon?
You've done everything
Fort
anyways. You've
Gordon
done the
is a
drill
great
sergeant.
place, but there's no passion in there. Like, what are you doing there? Like,
Right.
That's
no, I'm
that's
just
literally
messing. I know people. I know
what they call a take a knee, right?
Yeah.
That's a break.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I like that.
Yep.
But
Passion, purpose, pension.
but there's always, there's TRICARE for life, and I understand, like, obviously Makai is going to be a big factor in staying in or not. But I would say that there's always, where there's a will, there's a way as well.
Absolutely.
So, like, there's always other ways, and I don't mean most jobs offer some kind of health insurance.
Yeah,
and stuff, so
and I will say, kind of off topic of this conversation, but like, we get our dental and vision from my job, but we do get, other than the VA disability, which VA is actually really good now. I don't know what it was like back then when it was on the news and people were saying it was bad because we was youngins, right? But we do have TRICARE, and we have TRICARE Prime just like what we had. We just paid for it, and it's really not that expensive for family. I think maybe pay $60-$80 a month. So don't y'all worry about that either.
Very good.
But yes, I definitely would recommend for anybody watching when you're talking about, trying to triage and prioritize things in your life. I highly recommend you look at it from a passion, purpose, and pension aspect.
Pension.
And sometimes it has to be pension, right? Sometimes you're going to have to do things for the money. You're going to hate it, and it's not going to be no rhyme or reason for it. But maybe you have a large family, or maybe you have a debt, or maybe you have medical needs. You know what I mean? So I'll definitely put that out there. So I will ask this question. If you guys can recount a personal experience where you had to take a risk or stepped out of your comfort zone, how, and I know we talked about this for like basic training, for example, for Jessica, and even really Tanisha. I mean, all of you guys, really, we really just talked about this. How did this experience shape your growth? How did you grow from this? Tasia?
So like Jessica said, I said I wanted to instruct, but the way that I got into the position that I'm in right now was not ideal. And it has humbled me so much. Um, I got a little firecracker in me. And
Really?
I've just a smidge, not too much. Uh, so it's just literally been a very humbling experience. And I'm, I'm at a point where I'm at so much peace in who I am and more accepting of the little bit of firecracker that I have in me, but more understanding that there's other ways to go about expressing yourself, right? And so it's just been a complete eye opener. And I've got people that tell me every day, like, I've never seen you like this. Like from who I was even 3 or 4 years ago to who I am right now. I see it, and when everybody else sees it, or people that don't even necessarily know me necessarily, but they can say like, I just see growth in you. It's been like very humbling and eye opening.
I love that for you, Tasia. You have grown so much. You have grown so
Thank
much.
you.
Oh yeah. I mean, I was her first supervisor, so I definitely know she's a little bit firecracker. I ain't gonna put it out there.
I would say
Cause I love you.
W1 Tasia and CW3 Tasia are very different people.
Oh yeah, I've gotten some. Hey, talk to your little soldier. I'm like, she's a whole CW2 right now. What do you mean? Like, but okay, I will. So I'm really glad to hear that.
Yes.
How about you, Tanisha?
Yeah, taking risk has definitely helped me to grow, in a positive way. Absolutely. I can say now, like I mentioned before, I know that I can do hard things, before, me taking any type of risk or whatever, I've always felt like, it was a voice in the back of my head just telling me, no, you're not going to be able to get this done. It's not going to happen for you. And so it kept me in a place of just not wanting to, not necessarily not wanting to try, but just made me feel like, I wasn't worthy to get out there and put myself in a place better than where I was currently sitting. So it's definitely, helped me to see that, I'm capable, that, that I can handle the hard stuff, that I can, you know, um, look at I look at everyone's accomplishments that you guys have here. Before I would have felt, a little intimidated by everything that you guys have done. And now it's like, no, this is who I am. I know that, I'm capable of doing the same things that they're doing. It's just not the path that I wanted to go on. And I'm okay with that. I'm
Exactly.
okay with where I'm at.
I love that. And,
Yeah.
it's funny. And I just want to throw out there because growing up in the legal field where you work with lawyers, it's
Hmm.
like they, not all of them, but some of them have the tendency to treat non lawyer personnel inadequately.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, no, I'm just as educated as you. It's just, we just took different paths, And so I wanted to throw that out there to all of my people who are support, my legal support personnel and paraprofessionals. I love you, attorneys, so I'm not talking bad about you. However, just be more mindful of the way that you treat the people that work with you and for you, because they are not inadequate. They are not lesser than you. They just chose a different path. And let's all be real. You cannot do it yourself anyways. So, and I'm going to ask a different question. I'm going to let Jessica start with this one, because I actually want to ask this question and allow all three of you to answer, especially because I know, you all say that you're single moms, but you may not be single ladies. But I want to know if you all have explored the concept of dating yourself at one point or another. And if so, what does that mean to you? And how can this notion of dating yourself lead to personal growth and self-discovery? Jessica.
So I don't have a problem dating myself. I actually love being by myself. And I think that is why um I mean, being like, because I give everything to my kids and I love them to death. But like when I'm not with them or when I don't have something to do with them, like I don't want to do anything else really. Like I just want to work on myself and be by myself and like recharge. So I have like found things that I love doing, like just going for a walk or reading a book or taking a bath or just like being by myself. I really have no issues being by myself. I actually love being by myself. And that's why, like, I mean, TMI maybe a little bit, but like I've dated since I've been divorced, but like nobody, if they like, like if they interfere with my peace, like I just can't. Like I'm
I
not,
love that.
like, we're not doing that. So,
Jessica, that's
unless you,
definitely not TMI. Like your
unless,
TMI is.
oh no,
I thought you were
but
about
I'm
to
just,
tell us
no, no, no,
TMI.
no, no, no.
You mentioned the bathtub, so I was a little bit nervous. I don't even know how to clip stuff out of here, so I was really scared. But
No, no, not
your
TMI,
TMI is in TMI, not too much.
But yeah, no, I just like if they're not adding some value or like if they're disturbing any kind of any part of my peace, like I
Love
just
that.
don't have time for it. And so I really have no issues dating myself. I actually love doing it. I love being by myself. I love, going for a walk. And I think that because I love that so much, that has really like somebody is gonna really need to like provide something to like for me to be like, okay, we can do this or whatever. You
I
know what I
love
mean?
that.
Because
He
I
better
really,
love walks, apparently.
yeah,
Long walks in the park.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
that's awesome. I love that. How about you, Tanisha?
Oh yeah, definitely agree with you, Jessica. I've been by myself for quite some time now. I didn't initially want to be by myself, but after getting to know myself, I have come to understand that there is a level of peace that I have never felt until I got to this moment. And, when I take I literally take myself out. I like going to try new restaurants or whatever. So a lot of times I don't have a companion to go with. I don't have a friend that I want to take or anything, or that has the time to go because they're doing their own thing. So I'm like, I'm not gonna sit at home and not go out and try this restaurant because I don't have anyone to go with. I go and I sit down and I enjoy a nice meal. I get, a waiter to come over and take care of, the order for me. And I buy myself gifts. I do special stuff, that I was hoping that somebody else would want to do for me. I'm just like, I can't sit here and wait for that
Wait for it to happen.
person to come into my life because I'll be waiting forever. So I have to do that stuff for myself now, and I enjoy it. I'm very happy, being single right now. And it's like you said, whoever comes in, it's going to be like you're going to have to be able to do everything that I'm doing for myself and then a little bit more.
I
It's
love
going to take
that.
somebody very special.
I love that. Well, let me just tell you one thing though. It is you are not going to be waiting forever. Okay? You just going to Cheddar's on Sunday, and that's when all the families go. So you can't just be going to Cheddar's on Sundays when the husbands is bringing the wives and the kids. You got to go on Tuesdays during happy hours when all the single guys are at the bar. Tanisha, you ain't going at the right time, okay? It's timing, child, timing and
Maybe
place.
I'm avoiding those days. You know, I'm like,
I know, right?
don't come over to
Look,
my
when
room.
they're out, you're already asleep. I get it. As soon as they come out, you're already in bed, okay? But you're gonna have to not have an 8 o'clock bedtime on a Friday. It's just then it will be forever. You're gonna have to take a nap and then get up and go out.
I had to go to bed. Shoot.
I feel you. How about you, Tasia?
I love dating myself, but I will take a whole day. I'll go get my, this is no attribution. I'll get my lashes done. I'll get my nails done.
Tasia, everyone knows you wear lashes, okay? It is not a secret.
I go get my nails done. I go get my hair done. I love like the way I take care of myself is just to travel. I'm trying to go somewhere.
Yeah.
Want 2 passport stamps a year. Like I'm dedicated to that. I'm dedicated to taking my kids to different places. And dating myself also means taking my kids on experiences as well too. I'm single, but not for
Mingling. You're
real.
singling.
Yes,
You're
I'm
singling.
I'm mingled with like one. I'm not mingling. I'm mingled right now. And what
Jesus
I'll say
Christ.
is, you know, Tanisha and Jessica have both talked about being able to add to my piece. And I will tell you that he definitely does that in a
That's
way that
awesome.
I've never, like, it's so, again, I feel like he's taking a part in my calmness too. And so it's just, and we like do the same things and all of that type of stuff. So it's just been, it's definitely refreshing after being in not so great relationships and being by myself and then just being able to add to it and still being able to take care of myself and not having to worry about me taking care of myself, whatever that looks like. If I want the solitude, if I want to be by myself, we're good with that. It's cool on both sides of the fence. So yeah, no, definitely. I love, like Tanisha said, buying herself gifts and stuff. I celebrate any and everything. It don't matter what it
You
is.
Yeah.
When the
celebrate your birthday
basic
a whole month.
I do
Okay.
celebrate my birthday all month. I
You do.
absolutely do.
Jesus.
When the basic course graduates, I'm buying myself a bag. I completed that. Like, I mean, I'm just saying, like, absolutely.
I'd like to thank myself.
That's
Thank you.
Thank
right.
you.
Seriously.
I need
Seriously.
to try that. I don't buy myself gifts. I
Oh
take
yes,
care
go
of
buy yourself
myself.
gifts.
Oh,
I
Yes.
I
know.
didn't
I
either.
mean,
And that comes from what we talked
sometimes
about
I
a little
guess.
bit earlier about taking on other people's things. And so we don't leave enough for ourselves. Because I used to feel guilty to buy myself gifts. Now I buy
Wow.
myself gifts all the time. Now I feel guilty because I'm buying myself too many gifts. But
Like, let me open this box. What's in this box?
oh, it's amazing. I mean, I used to just do like the shopping, putting it in the cart online, and then I saw the price, and I'm like, yeah, hell no, like I can't
Yes,
do this. Like
that's what I still do right
yeah.
now. That's what
Well,
I
you're
still
getting
do.
there, Jessica. That's like step 3.
Yeah.
now
Okay.
now you just gotta
I'm still at
hit
step one.
Purchase. Purchase.
you just gotta hit purchase
Yeah.
without having regret and taking it back to
Right.
the store. Cause I've done that
Exactly.
too. I'm like, oh crap. I
Exactly.
did that when I got my car. I'm like, do I really need this car? Like, they have really nice, cheaper cars. I can just drive around. It's
Oh,
so much better.
No.
I was totally like that, but then I'm like, no. I've worked
Yeah.
very hard for
I
this.
need
I
to
went
work
through
harder.
I went through a Chevy Cavalier and a Ford Focus and a freaking shoot, what is that dang on
Nissan.
Equinox
A
to
ma-
get
Oh,
here.
that's right.
Oh,
I
and a
remember the
Maxima.
Equinox.
And a
I remember the
Maxima.
a
I'm
Equinox.
like, I
Maxima.
went through all those to get to
Hey,
this
I'm
BMW. I
telling
don't
you,
feel
you
bad.
deserve that. You
Girl,
deserve that.
and no offense to all them car companies, don't be hating me, but I went through a lot to get
Right.
there, child. But I did want, like, so I wanted to say, like, I would say I've never been single, right? Ever. Like, I had in high school, I had a boyfriend the whole time. And then I got pregnant. But when I was pregnant, I had a boyfriend the whole time for 6.5 years. And then we broke up, and probably like the next day, I had another boyfriend for 11 months. And then we broke up the next day. I was with, my now husband. And
Not the next day.
it feels like it, right? And it's like now it's been, oh God, oh Jesus, like 12 years. 12 years. I have never, ever, ever been single. And now that I'm not that I am at all like boasting about that. I don't know what it feels like at all. But I will say I am trying to learn to date myself, even though I'm married, if that makes any sense, because my husband,
Absolutely.
he does it. And I always thought that was so awesome that he could like go to eat or go to a movie. And this was before we were married, by himself and not feel weird. I would do that. And I'm like, I got to play on my phone just so I don't feel strange, and out of place. But now I don't. Like, if I want to do something, and of course I go and I, get my hair done, I get my nails done and stuff. But if I want to go eat somewhere, or I just go. I just go and do it. You know what I mean?
Go.
Like, I definitely buy myself a lot of gifts. I don't feel bad for it anymore. I may hide them so he doesn't see it. And then he's like, "Where did you get that from?" I'm like, "I've been had this," even though
Right.
that's
Thing
like
about being
fibbing a
single.
little bit. Like, it depends on what been had really means. But no, I'm learning that to like date myself as well, even though I'm in a marriage. I mean, when my husband's not home, I can go to bed at 7:30 with a bottle of wine and, Tubi, or, Netflix, or something like that. Yeah, oh,
You
I
and this
love
Tubi.
I know,
child,
right?
y'all missing out. Hey, they're
Shayna,
they're
I
on the up.
experienced it this weekend, and it is interesting.
Hey, if you want to know the
Tubi
movies
is
to
a hot
watch, child,
mess.
I
Please.
love it. I love it. That is how I'm on my self discovery journey, and I'm discovering myself through Tubi movies, child. I'm like, am
Okay,
I
but
still ratchet?
this
Yes.
though, as
Yes.
long as you don't turn out like some of those females, Jessica, then we're gonna have a problem.
That is true.
They are
Look,
crazy.
that's part of my self discovery. I'm still trying to learn. Is St. Louis still in me, even though I ain't in St. Louis? Because child, to be funny as a mug.
Hopefully, you discovering that you are not anything like them, because they are
I
crazy. They
am.
are.
I will definitely say 99% of the time I'm like, ooh, nah, these girls, where do they get these girls from? Like, it's a whole new breed. These people were made in a lab. I am convinced.
Not a lab.
They are made in labs, child. For real. Oh my goodness. But yeah, no, I'm definitely really learning to date myself. The only thing I haven't done yet is like go on a like trip by myself. Like, I just came last week from Kansas City for work, and I kind of was pretty much almost by myself. But I kind of want to go to a place, and maybe it'd be safer on a cruise, like literally by myself.
No,
Like,
just go. Just
Yeah.
go. I went to Utah. I went to Salt Lake City one day
oh
and I just
wow.
I just went. I went by myself. I went on a hike to a waterfall. I got my own hotel. I found my own food. I explored the
Wow.
city by myself, walked through the cathedrals. Just go. Just
Wow.
I'm about to do it again. I want to go to Oregon. Just these random places. I'm just go.
Oregon's
That's
beautiful.
amazing.
Yes.
I've never
Oregon
been
has
to
some
Oregon.
amazing waterfalls. It's
Yes.
beautiful there.
Oh wow.
Yes.
I haven't been to Utah either. I know my husband has, but I haven't been to Oregon or Utah. I've been to Washington State though.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just want to do
Just
that. I
go.
just want to just one time. I'm just trying to figure out where I want to go. I want to go somewhere where I don't have to worry about like some crazy person sneaking into my hotel room in the middle
You're
of the
so
night and like
silly.
trafficking me over like country borders. Because although
But
I
you
don't
don't
catastrophize,
catastrophize. That's
that
Yeah.
just
that one is.
come on. That's
And you know what?
catastrophize the
I never
moment.
got back to that either. I never got back to that, so I'm glad I
Just
did.
keep your doors
I want.
locked,
Yes, I'm telling you. When I go, I lock
because
the
that happens
thing.
everywhere.
It's crazy. I'm like, I'm this close to buying a thing off Amazon. The other day, I was afraid of a spider getting me last week in Kansas City, so I smashed it with a piece of toilet paper in between the crack of the wall, put the trash can in front of it, and then I put a towel on the other side of the door so the spider wouldn't come out. Like, I was freaking out. So I don't know if I'm quite yet ready for my own solo trip because I can't even kill bugs. But so I'm not sure how I'm gonna fight off an assailant.
Oh my Lord.
I'm like so much bigger than that spider, but that spider was looking really huge.
Not an assailant.
But I did want to tell you ladies who like to think worst case scenario that I do feel like, sometimes that kind of stems from like trauma bonds. Sometimes it stems from just, a lack of mindfulness about what you're going through. And, I would offer to try to just try harder to focus on what's in your control, because that's really all that you can do. And challenge the negative thoughts. I know it's easier said than done. And I say this a lot as well. Like, when good or bad things happen to people, they always like to say, oh, why me? Well, why not you? You know what I mean? And ask yourself that question instead, because that will help you to gain more clarity and a more positive perspective. It will also help you to figure out why is it that you think that bad things are going to happen to you. You have to do more self-reflection. You have to realize the good person that you are, because I know that y'all are not bad people. I know that there's people who are technically bad people, like the people on Tubi. They look like they good people, but then they really be bad people. But y'all are really good people, And then another thing is spirituality and faith, right? Whatever it is that you have, if you definitely practice those, and especially faith, then you have to know that good is meant for you. And if you really do truly know that, and you truly do believe that, then you can't live in fear, because that's another thing that catastrophizing comes in fear. That's where that stress, that anxiety comes from. So I really do challenge you all to practice more mindfulness, and just more confidence in yourself, and to just try to negate all negativity, period, whether it's people, thoughts, situations, because then you won't think that everything bad is going to happen to you, because it's just really not. Because like Jessica said before, if you do put those thoughts in your head, you're putting yourself in that space, and you're kind of blocking your blessings, because you're putting that stuff in your bubble, as Tanisha would say. And you're breaking that extra level of protection. So
Right.
so before we close out, ladies, first of all, I want to say thank you so much for an amazing conversation. You all are the perfect people to have this conversation with, this discussion with. I want to let you all just go ahead and just say a little bit of some closing thoughts or words for the audience. And then, if there's some handles or whatnot that you want people to follow, Jessica, of course, you have TJR Investments. Tanisha, you have your home and interior design. Tasia, I know that you kind of sort of blog about your travels. So I want to allow you ladies to give some closing thoughts, and then, promote yourself a little bit. And then if you're looking for a man, just tell him what you want. Now don't be unrealistic now. Shoot. I'm just kidding. Jessica, you could go first.
Dang. No, I'm just kidding. I just want to, I guess, close with, I think what I'm having a lot of difficulty right now with is like finding your passion and finding like what you truly love to do. I think for the I mean, I don't not enjoy what I do in the military, but now that I can choose like what I want to do, I don't know what that is. And so I've been applying, for different jobs that are things that I've been doing in the military, but also like learning to look at some of the stuff that I've wanted to do outside of the military. And that I started to kind of dig into in 2021 was real estate investing, and learning how to do that, and to kind of build a portfolio. And so that's what I enjoy doing that. I'm not at a position where I can do that full time, so I am still looking for a job, but that's something that I really do enjoy. I like helping people understand, how you can leverage, other people's money and banks and things like that to invest in real estate and build a portfolio yourself. And that us being in the military, and I wish I had done this a lot sooner, but being in the military, people in the military have a unique, they have the VA loan, they have we move around every 2 to 3 years, where we can purchase like a home that that can be our primary residence with the VA loan, so that we don't have to put 15 to 20% down, because that's a lot of times that's why people aren't able to purchase a home. And so military have that unique ability to do that. And so that's what I do with my meetup that I do in Woodbridge, in the Northern Virginia area. And just whenever I talk to like soldiers and other people as well, because people that, but but because the soldiers have such a unique ability to be able to do that, it's easier for them to do that. And so that's what I've really been enjoying over the last couple of years, and helping other people as well, like personal finances and things like that. It's kind of what I was doing in the military, but not really. Personal finance is more just like an organization thing. But now that I have the ability to kind of do what I want to do and in what I'm passionate about, that's I've been looking into that a little bit more. I need some certifications and stuff to be able to do it as a profession, which I'm also looking into, and will do it. But that's what I just want to share is like, do what you're passionate about. I think that will drive you, your motivation, and give you some self drive if you're doing what you love. Like Tanisha had said, she doesn't, I, I don't think I've ever sat in my car and cried about going into work, but I understand 100% doing that. And so the fact that you are doing what you love now is amazing, or that, you're happy about doing when you go to work. And that's what, I want to do forever, for the rest of my life. As far as like, I don't want to be, you know, just doing something just for a paycheck. And so that's what and I just have right now, I mean, I have a website that I can send. It's TGR Investments LLC .com, and on Instagram, the same thing, at TGR Investments LLC. So
T as in Tom, J as in Jessica, and R as in real.
it's
I
it's
totally forgot
my
the
kids'
R's in the phonetic alphabet.
initials. So it's
Yeah,
Tyus James and J on a Rose. That's what it stands for. So
that's
it's my
awesome.
kids' initials, but
I love that. Well, speaking of Rose, I'll let Tanisha go next then.
Oh. Rose being because I don't have the company up and running yet. There's still a lot of things that I'm trying to work out, of course, and trying to push myself a little bit more to get things done. Still working on those, trying to keep my negative thoughts to myself, or out of myself for that matter. But the company's name will be Georgia Rose Home Design. I already have the website put together. I haven't launched it yet, but it is going to be, I'm very happy with where it is now. So it's not going to be too much longer. But closing remarks of what I would want to say is, I encourage people to really take some time to get to know themselves in a way that is not where you're just using those everyday identifiers. This is what I do for a living. I'm a mother. I have a parent that I'm taking care of, or something like that. You have to really take some time, I think, to understand that you are more than just those things. Find out what you enjoy doing, because in my time that I spent um stressing out about that job, and then I finally left it, like I said, I had 6 months there. It took some time for me to really understand what was giving me joy, and it was home design. I was sitting at home, and those were the only moments that I felt good about myself. And it just gave me so much peace, and it just made me feel centered. And so that's how I found out what my passion was. It's just, you have to take time to really get to know yourself and find the things that you love about yourself, the things that you love, that you would love to happen for yourself. And it takes some real time and some work and digging. So take that time that you need and get to know who you are. It's a very special person, I promise.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for pumping me up. I needed it. Tasia.
Closing remarks. I would like to say, like, where you are in your journey is exactly where you're supposed to be. And if you bask in the moment and take time and embrace the moment, it's much easier to go a step further, the next step, the next step. I found that I call it planning and thinking about the future, but it's really worrying about it. And it's just causing so much stress now, where if I just am in the moment and embrace each and every moment, my journey it's happening as I'm going, not necessarily trying to figure out what the heck is going on next. And so I just would encourage everybody to be in the moment, embrace the moment, take it in, exhale it out, and then keep moving. And kind of like I said in my season 1, this too shall pass. Even if that moment is not the best moment, this too shall pass and you'll go into the next moment. So as I'm exploring, my passion right now is I'm on Instagram at Tage Journeys, Tango Alpha Yankee Sierra _ Journeys, but it's NEE, November Echo Echo Sierra. So
Love that. Well, thank you again, ladies. As we draw the curtain on today's Affirmation Conversations panel discussion, remember that the journey to self discovery and compassion is ongoing. Let this conversation resonate with you, guiding you towards a deeper understanding and appreciation of yourself. We hope you leave feeling inspired and empowered to embrace every facet of who you are. Until next time, remember you are worthy, you are enough, and you are loved. Thank you so much.